Wilson pulls the trigger.
Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan, and I'm in Florida still. My flight got canceled. I'm leaving tomorrow. I am live from the parents' house here in Florida. Joe, how you doing?
Doesn't it feel so weird when you're out of your element and you have to
It's
record?
weird. I feel gross. I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't know. Doesn't feel right. Doesn't sound right.
Until a little bit over a year ago, I was still at my parents' house, so I'd record at my parents' house from my room, the basement, whatever it was, and moving into the new house, I'd find my spot and make it feel normal. So I know you're gonna trip up a little bit more tonight. You're gonna be a little bit out there, but I'm doing well. Good games yesterday. Unfortunately for me, I bet I think almost $200 on the Chiefs money line. Mahomes over 250. And 𝐗 to get a touchdown, and all that stuff pretty much hit in the first half, and then they lose 21-3, and it could have been $500. So, or lose when they're up 21-3. So I had a bad day in terms of that, but at least his girlfriend and his brother are really kind of annoying. So I that's kind of a positive with that. So exciting week of football. I'm excited for the Super Bowl.
There you go. Yeah, right. I'm looking forward to it. I was kind of hoping the 49ers would pull it out because you always have that little bit of hope that the coaching tree is all in place. But McVay's not bad. I could take that. I'm all right with that. And I kind of want to see Stafford and Donald get a ring. That's where I'm kind of hoping. Burrow and Chase have plenty of time in the league. I'd like to see those guys get it.
Yeah, that and again, I'm super sinister. So the fact that OBJ might win and Giants fans have to watch that would be kind of another thing that's quiver in the arrows. Yeah,
no,
so
just twist it.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, I'm not a big Giants fan, so you know that.
Very cool. Guys, hit that like button if you are on your way into the stream. Always appreciate it. We will be live tomorrow, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, with Ali from Loyal NY Jet Fans. He's going to be over at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, and we're going to talk about that right here on this show now with Joe. So, Joe, have you looked at any of the Senior Bowl guys? Is there anyone that you think we should be keeping an eye on?
Yeah, there are so many names in that group that it's hard to go even to go off the top of my head. Muma, I know Chad Muma's there. I know McBride is there. Ruckert's there, who is of course a big Jets fan, so it'd be great to grab him. In maybe the third or fourth round. But the roster is absolutely stacked. And
Devin Lloyd.
Devin Lloyd, and especially in positions that the Jets need, linebacker stacked, tight end is stacked. There's some good offensive linemen who are out there. There's some good safeties who are out there. So the roster looks really, really good, and it gives the Jets obviously a huge advantage because not only players that you want to draft, but you might see some of these red flags. And whole Mims conversation we get into a different day, but let's say Mims was there and they saw some of that work ethic stuff at the Senior Bowl, maybe they wouldn't have grabbed him. So not just who to pick, but who not to pick. So I'm really excited. That game's on Saturday, right? Get to watch that game. And again, give them really good knowledge of a lot of players who are in that second to fourth round type of range for the Jets, where the Jets are pretty stacked up on picks. So I'm really, really excited for that too. Jermaine Johnson, I just saw. I'm actually watching. People are mentioning Jermaine Johnson in the chat too. I'm actually watching a game versus.
It looks like Devin Lloyd may not be going to the Senior Bowl anymore, is what Keith says.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that a little bit. Somebody said I sound like Tom Brady, which I don't. I don't think so.
You sound like a 7-time Super Bowl champion. That's what he's meaning to say.
I get that, and I look like Sam Darnold sometimes. I'm really? Okay, I guess. But yeah, Jermaine Johnson's there too, and I know I'm actually watching Jermaine Johnson right now against 𝐗-𝐿𝐴𝐿. Because I'm watching that game versus. You obviously want to watch. I don't like watching prospects versus garbage schools, because then what are you really getting from that? And I like Jermaine Johnson. I really want to focus in on him eventually. But he's got some interesting athletic traits that I could see him being maybe potentially a target at 10 if he rises up boards a little bit, because I think you have those initial couple of guys obviously with Hutchinson and Thibodeau. But then after that, let's say they're both gone. Maybe it's Karlaftis or Jermaine Johnson type guy who falls, or who doesn't fall, but who's there for 10 for the taking for the Jets. So we might have to start looking into some of those secondary guys. But with that being said, like it seems like 𝐻𝐭𝐬 is rising up some boards right now. So if you have him and Neal get taken in the top 3, one of the edge rushers falls to the Jets, and that's obviously really, really exciting. I've been diving in a lot to these guys now, and it's getting exciting to kind of figure out where I stand on these guys, because we're talking for so long. It's just, I preface it by saying I didn't watch this guy yet. I'm going off of this opinion on this guy, and now I'm like building my own opinions, especially on the top, because it's a little bit easier with the Jets. Because like if we were doing a Rams podcast and we had the 31st or 32nd pick, it's like shit. I got to watch so many guys, but I got to narrow it down to like 5 to 10 guys, and I'm pretty much good for the first round. So. We're getting to the exciting times.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Now, if you had to, like, before we get too far into prospects, like, are you thinking a particular type of direction heading into the draft, or are you thinking, hey, one of the edge rushers falls, we take them? If not, are you going O-line? Is there another direction you may want to go? And then if so, depending on what you do at 4, what would you want to do at 10?
Yeah, ideally for me, like I'm a big trenches guy. So I would prefer to go trenches. Obviously, whoever they take at 4, I would prefer it to be a Thibodeau or a Hutchinson. I still have to watch Hutchinson, but obviously with the hype he's getting, you assume he'd be deserving of the 4th pick, just because it's obviously so hard to find guys at that position, where I might actually like 𝐻𝐭𝐬's tape better than Thibodeau, which again, people go crazy because of the narratives they heard the entire offseason. Thibodeau is a really, really good prospect. He's super raw in a lot of ways. And he's not to the level that I thought like the Bosa's were, the Chase Youngs were. He's a step below that to me, but he's still deserving of a top pick because he's the top guy, most likely. And he has some freaky traits. So if he's there, you take him, even though I might like 𝐻𝐭𝐬 more. But again, what's more valuable, tackle/guard or DN? So you might take him there.
You're saying you would take Thibodeau over 𝐻𝐻𝐭𝐬?
Even though I like 𝐻𝐭𝐬's tape a little bit more than his. And I'm a game and a half through 𝐻𝐻ONU, so I want to get to at least 3 games. I think 3 games is the minimum. The Jets draft that guy. I'll watch all the games, put out all that stuff. But now the reviews are like 45 minutes to an hour, which is kind of still long. But then after that, they're drafted. Another 2 hours is coming or something like that. So, it's just so hard to find DNs there. So I'm hoping one of the DNs falls. And then at 10, I'm not a big receiver guy. Again, I think if you stack up this receiver class versus past receiver classes, like you put them in a class with Ja'Marr Chase, Waddle, Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Lamb. I don't think any one of these guys in this draft classes is better than any one of those guys. And obviously, like people have recency bias with how good these guys are, and obviously with some of those guys who didn't necessarily pan out, they might say how bad those people are, even though they're really, we're kind of comparing them as college prospects. But I don't want to take a receiver at 10 when it's not as good as years past, and especially when you can find receivers, especially nowadays in the NFL, in the 2nd, 3rd round who are still really, really good. Again, Elijah Moore, absolutely like his numbers weren't dominant last year, but I just did a film review on him too. He was very, very good in year 2, very, very good. So I'd rather take a position that's going to be a little bit more lackluster, or not lackluster, but a little bit harder to find later on in the draft. So I'm more offensive line, or I want one of those linebackers to really convince me, Lloyd or Dean. But I'll figure that out.
I like that. I kind of see where your head's going at. Stick with the trenches, kind of like how Douglas was kind of saying.
Yeah.
Christopher Phillips drops in with Super Chat. Thank you, brother. Says, all the draft gurus killed the Bengals for not going Penei Sewell. The Jets need to draft tight ends and wide receivers, and fill needs in free agency. I think that's probably where I'm at on this. I would like to go defense heavy in free agency. So whether that be like a Foyce, the linebacker from Atlanta, I think would be a nice addition. If you can get Douglas to go after Marcus Williams, I would really like that. If not, maybe someone like a Justin Reed. And then I would like to bring back Joyner, I think, at safety. And then I don't know what you do as far as, do you go with a veteran edge? Because you got to hope that you get, someone there. You're not guaranteed someone at 4. I don't know.
Yeah, I like by the time the draft comes, they'll have a much better feel of who's going to go where. So if they see that and they see that the Vikings are maybe blowing it up and they want to trade Danielle Hunter, maybe they do that, But I'm kind of, for me, in terms of free agency, just looking at how the draft is pretty defensive heavy, especially up top. I want to go offense in free agency. I still want to get a safety because you need 2 safeties, like legitimately. So I'm going to get at least a safety, and then I'm really leaning towards like making that like splashy move for a wide receiver. And maybe that's just because of like my biases of seeing it, within our division with Stephon Diggs, because Diggs wasn't what he is with the Bills when he was with the Vikings. Like he was really good, but he was a number 2 to Thielen, like a guy who was like hovering around 1,000 yards every year, which is great, but he wasn't what he is now. So I think if you can trade for one of the receivers, I would really like that. And then again, bringing in a tight end, because I think you need 2 tight ends through free agency and the draft as well. But I don't necessarily want to surround Zack Wilson with a bunch of young guys who are going to have their growing pains as well. Like I want to bring in, we have a ton of young guys on offense. I want to bring in some stud, not older. I'm not talking about guys who are like 32, 33, 34 years old, but if you can bring in, a receiver who's 25, 26, 27, a guard who was 28, 29, a tight end who was, has some years of experience, like that's the way I want to go. Because again, I rather surround my quarterback with more experienced guys, and in the draft, you draft defense. They have their growing pains, and then a year or two when we're hopefully ready to like legitimately compete, obviously they round out into form. So,
yeah, I think there's some interesting players that you could definitely go with in free agency. I think trading for a wide receiver is probably our best route. I do like adding a vet to that room. I think having someone that's going to take some time to gel throughout their rookie season is probably not ideally what we want to look for.
Yeah.
So if you can give away one of those second-round picks for like a Calvin Ridley or a Michael Thomas or an Amari Cooper or whatever, Amari Cooper you could probably get cheaper just because of his contract. But yeah. I'm definitely on the front of trading for a receiver. I think it's Laken Tomlinson is the guard from the 49ers. I think that's going to be an area we kind of look at. I think we'd like to bring back LDT, but it kind of depends on what his nursing or medical school situation is, residency, I think, is what he's got to do.
He has to get an extension. Like he has to finish his residency before a certain amount of years. And if he doesn't, he can't get his medical license or something, or he has to restart. I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm sure they'd extend it for him. But if they bring back LDT, then I'm still of the mindset, okay, you have to draft a guard in rounds 2 or 3, because I don't think he should just walk into a starting spot. I don't think he's that good. I think he's a below average player, but a below average player coming in and replacing 𝐗-𝐷, who's absolutely terrible, seemed like a big upgrade, which it was. But it's still not the starting level guy you want. In terms of that super chat too, which thank you, and Ryan appreciates it, and so do I. I'm part of it, I guess. But listen, that conversation it's going to go on for a while, because in these last couple of games he's been getting absolutely smacked around. Like even in that game against the Titans, he got sacked 9 times. And what did Chase have? Like I know he's flashy, but he had 3-4 catches. Would he rather had better protection or Ja'Marr Chase in that game? Probably better protection, if we're being completely honest. So, I'm not just going to ignore offensive line because of receiver. I still think, receiver, while sexy, is not as important as offensive line still. So they have to make a relatively big investment at guard. But in terms of who to trade for receiver, you have Ridley with the head. We can't exactly tell what's going on with him. Obviously, we don't want to necessarily assume stuff. It is what it is, but still, it's still there. And if you're having problems in Atlanta, if you're coming to New York,
not necessarily better.
A little bit sketchy. Even though I think he's the best player of these options, DK Metcalf, I severely doubt he's getting traded. Why would you trade a guy who is a legit number 1 top 20 receiver in the NFL? Even if you are rebuilding, which I don't think they are, why would you do that? And Cooper, I think is a guy who's pretty interesting. I think he has $20 million on his cap right now. He's owed a decent amount in the future. Yeah, but you could restructure it or you can get rid of it, whatever. And I think if you trade for him, the Cowboys have to eat $4 million and Jets would pay 16, which 16 is a lower end number 1 in today's NFL in terms of the price. And you're looking at a guy who is 27, I believe, but he's a little bit older, but 27, because he was drafted 19 or 20. He was super, super young. But with that being said, he's a lower end number 1. Who it doesn't, the stats don't necessarily match up to what I think he could produce with the Jets, because obviously they have Zeke, they have Schultz, they have Lamb, they have Gallup, they have all these guys, and I think he's a really good fit for the system in terms of being a good route runner and a good yak guy. And that's exactly what they want. So if they traded a third and a fifth for Cooper, took that money off of the Cowboys cap, I'll be down with that, because then that's one less hole you go into the draft with, and you're talking about a receiving core of Cooper, Moore, and Davis. We're talking pretty solid here. Now he's not going to be like Stephon Diggs, not going to be a resurgence, but he's going to be a legit lower end number 1. And then maybe you draft the guy in the 3rd, 4th round, you let him develop. So I like that option.
Yeah, I think that's really cool, because then you can keep all your high assets. That's sort of the most attractive option for me. As far as the offensive line, because I think before I get to Bob Albro's super chat, I want to ask you, how confident are you in Becton? Do you feel like maybe offensive flexibility between the tackle guard spot is or should be a high priority for us? Like top 10, like a 𝐗-𝐭𝐬 priority, or, could we find that somewhere else in the draft? I don't know if tackle is like something you want to strike for later.
Yeah, tackle is like more of it's more of a secondary need for me. Mm-hmm. While important though, like we have to consider with Becton and his early injury history, which I'm more worried about him in year one. Coming out, he played what, 12 games, but he came out of, or he might have played like 14 games.
70% of the total snaps.
Okay, so he came, and there was a few games where he started and then came out pretty early. And the Panthers game, I'm not going to say that's injury prone. Anybody gets rolled up on, they're going to get injured like that. But then you start hearing like some quotes like from the Jets in terms of like him getting in shape and him staying in shape, a little bit concerning because they like to put messages out for reasons. So I don't think they would just say that for no reason. And it's obviously hard when your knee is basically exploded. Like, how are you going to stay in shape, especially when you're already that big and you have problems maintaining that like 370. So I'm a little bit concerned. I'm not like crazy concerned, but also to say that you have no concern with Becton right now, I think is a little bit of a lie, because he had some injuries year one, and just naturally, even if you have a super clean bill of health coming out of college, he's still, excuse my French, 370 fucking pounds. Like, you're going to have some injuries, and they're going to take longer to heal. So I think backup tackle is a priority for the Jets. More of like a secondary priority, but like it's not like other teams where you still want a backup tackle, but the Jets really have to get a backup tackle. So I don't think that's something I want to do really early, because I like Becton, I like Fant, but I want some versatility behind them in terms of a swing tackle. But in terms of like other guys, like I'm really, depending on exact circumstances, but generally like I'm BPA BPA best player available at a position of need. So no matter who it is at 4, if those two edge rushers are gone, take 𝐗-𝐭𝐬. Like I'm cool with that. I think 𝐗-𝐭𝐬 is a guy who could play right guard. 6'4", 320. The dude is absolutely freaking a bully. Like he's one of the biggest bully offensive linemen I've ever watched. Like he is uber aggressive. I literally just watched a play of him and a guy is running away from him, and the play is completely on the opposite side of the field, and he's chasing him just to get an extra push in. Like, he loves to absolutely rock guys. So it's really fun to watch him. And I really like his film, and I think I'm going to like him even more than Neil. So that'll be an interesting option at 4. And then I want to watch the rest of the guys in terms of like who else could be, like, 𝐗-𝐿 or whoever else people say might be the pick there. And somebody asked me before if 𝐗-𝐿 can fall to 10. I want to watch, because people say he could be a top 5 pick, top 10 pick, and there's people who's like him like in the lower teens. So I got to kind of hone in my opinion on 𝐗-𝐿, so I'm going to watch him soon.
We got Bob Albro coming in with the super chat, says, draft a tight end in the second round, or would you use the Panthers' second round and maybe Mims for 𝐗 Hawkinson? Lions need that draft capital. Hawkinson's pretty young. I don't think they're going to move on from him. But as far as tight end, I would definitely use a second-round pick on one. I think someone like McBride, if he's gone, then maybe you'll look for one of the other guys that you coached in the Senior Bowl, someone like Ruckert, someone like 𝐗-𝐿. I think that would be good. I think you got to go after Dalton Schultz. I think he should be priority number 1 in free agency. What about you, Joe? How do you think we should handle the tight end position?
They need to address it twice. I think if they were to get a guy, let's just say like an 𝐗 or Howard or Max Williams or one of those other guys, and another freaking target for the Jets. You're talking about Gallup, you're talking about Godwin, you're talking about whoever else. Now 𝐷𝐻𝐸ma, whatever his name is, just exploded his leg too. So like now he might not be an option for the Jets. Like all these targets are just their legs are just giving out on them. But I think if they were to get like more of a second tier guy, then they really need to prioritize it in the draft again at the minimum. Hopefully a second round guy, because again, looking at Joe Douglas, I'm usually a defender of him, but him not getting tight ends for a tight end heavy system last year was a massive mistake. I don't think that, again, like you said, like why are the Rams going to trade something? Like, why trade the known for the unknown? Hawkinson's a really good player and they're rebuilding. So I don't think the Jets land Schultz, because obviously there's gonna be a lot of bidders for him. And like, we always like to, like, every single free agency, we're gonna get this guy, that guy. And they always sign somewhere else.
I want to get Dalton Schultz. It's just gonna be perfect for our young quarterback.
So they need 2. I don't think they land him. I think they end up getting a guy. Past that, like I'm pretty interested in 𝐗-𝐿 in terms of his physical upside. And Baker Mayfield sucks, so maybe they underutilized him and he wasn't utilized properly. Like, so I would really like him. And then again in the draft, you get a guy like McBride, 𝐉𝐞𝐽𝐻, whoever else is at the top of your board, in the second round, minimum of the third round. So they need to address like at two guys again. You can't be a 12 heavy personnel system and be running out Ryan Griffin and Tyler Kroft. Tyler Kroft's a fine okay number 2, a good number 3, but I want him to be a number 3 next year. Like, let's surround Zach with some legitimate talent.
Beloved Peace drops into the super chat, says the Jets should look into taking a receiver in rounds 3 or 4. A few names I've watched games on are Alec Pierce and Jalen Tolbert. I have not watched either one of them, so I can't give any concrete thoughts. I think the farthest I've looked at receiver is probably second round. I think, top of the second round even. I wouldn't even say like tail end of the second round. I think Doxson's probably the last receiver that I looked at with any real thoughts, because I would like receiver no later than that second pick, and ideally we're trading for a veteran. In my mind, are there any receivers that you think might be later picks, like in that third, fourth round, possibly?
I don't really know. I got to watch more guys. It's hard to really predict where guys will go. But yeah, it depends on what they do. Like, if they get an Allen Robinson in here, then receiver becomes much of a less need. Like especially again, we're getting 2 tight ends hopefully. So how much are there really going to be 4 receivers on the field? Not really often. So I would like to get a guy at that point in the 3rd or 4th round, let them develop behind, the top 3 guys. So I got to watch, but yeah, I would like to address it again. Receiver is almost that position now in the NFL, and it's not necessarily stacked up exactly with this, but it's becoming it. Like running backs, you hear it all the time. Like, there's guys who are around in later rounds of the draft who really develop, and receivers, it's not as drastic as that. Like, running backs, you can find guys like round 5 or 6, but receivers now, like rounds 3 and 4, those guys every single year. So yeah, I want to trade for a guy and then draft a guy in the 3rd or 4th round. It's kind of where I'm focused at.
Where you're thinking. Guys, I'm here with Joe Blewett from Jets X Factor. His links are down in the description down below. Make sure you check him out. Give him a good follow. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. We got 240 people or so in here. We're going to do a mock offseason in just a little bit, so make sure you hang out for just a little bit longer. We'll get through some of these super chats, and we'll go through how we would rebuild the New York Jets using the Jets X Factor offseason simulator. So that should be a lot of fun. Definitely hang out. Jonathan Moore, what's up, brother? Thank you for the super chat. He says, I almost sent you $500. Thanks, John. I'd use it to fly out to Colorado and see you. Richard Delgado. This jerk every time. Greg Van Roten, greater than everyone else. He just likes pushing my buttons.
That's sucking.
That's what it is. That's what it is. He likes getting a rise out of me. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Benji Unger drops in the super chat, says, I think it would be silly to draft a receiver at 10. We have the worst defense in the league. If Zach is a franchise quarterback, Moore and Davis and some other is fine. Fix the defense, and we get a tight end. So that's going to be interesting. There's a lot of different ways to address this team, and I'm not really upset with any particular direction that we could go. I'm not opposed to not going receiver at 10. If you can tell me we're going to go into the draft and we have signed maybe Allen Robinson, who has a connection with Robert Saleh from their time in Jacksonville. Maybe you get him at a little bit of a discount coming off a bad year. Joe Douglas probably likes that. I think that's a realistic target for us. I think you try to get someone like Njoku. I think you could probably sign him for like a $5 million deal on a 1-year deal and make out pretty well. And then you go into the draft and you look to draft defense and you try to go that defensive end at 4, hopefully, if he's there. If he's not there, then maybe you go with 𝐗-𝐿 on the offensive line, help your guys out. And then at 10, it gives you a little bit of flexibility because we've been hearing the Jets want to trade down from number 10. So someone looking for a quarterback, looking to leapfrog the Washington football team. I think it'd be interesting to see what we could get and who would be targeting, who we would be targeting if we drop back in a trade. For me, I think if we slide down a little bit, I'd be looking at I don't know, did you see Daniel Jeremiah's tweet? He had something about like 7 of the top 25 players in this year's draft are edge rushers. So maybe if we're sliding back, we probably feel like the guys from 10 to 17 or 10 to 20 range are probably all graded about the same. If you could pick up an additional pick and slide down, maybe that's what we're kind of thinking there. I don't know. But then you maybe get the tight end in the second round, right? Like with Bride.
Yeah, and the thing like I don't think it's like it would be silly to draft a receiver at 10. It's not. I'm not saying that. I don't know if that's like what I'm saying. That's supposed to be like my quote, which I didn't say. It would be silly. It would be silly to draft a receiver at 10 who doesn't deserve the 10 pick. It's how that should read.
Sure.
Like I'm not going to reach at 10 for a receiver who doesn't deserve the pick because we want a receiver. Like that's not how you draft. That's how Mike McCagnon or somebody else bad at drafting would draft. Like, hey, I really want a receiver. Fuck it. This guy is probably in other drafts worth a late first. We really want one though. Let's grab one. Like how does that make sense? You know, if there was a Jamar Chase, if there was a Waddle, a Devontae Smith, one of those guys, cool. CeeDee Lamb, cool. But there's not one of those guys this draft that people, you know, again, I want to watch for myself, but people I trust are saying it's not a type of draft. So there's not a lot of separation between receivers, between Wilson, Burks, London, whoever, and those guys are all kind of in a package. Why are you going to be the first one to take one of those guys at 10? And, you know, maybe they go earlier, but why not now if they talk about trade down and they trade down from 10 to 16, 17, 18, and Wilson's there, Burks is there, whoever's there, okay, cool, grab them, you know?
Yeah, I get excited when I look at the receivers because Burks kind of reminds me of Deebo Samuel. When I'm watching the 49ers, I'm watching this guy just run over people and stiff-arm dudes into the ground. Like, that gets me all sorts of excited. And I see the metrics on London, but then I see the broken ankle, and I'm like, okay, well, what's he going to be coming off that injury? He was awesome prior to that. And then you try to, like, transition these guys into the NFL and say, okay, are these guys going to be able to be fits for this particular type of offense? You know, Mims looked like a great athlete. That didn't really work out. I don't know. Clearly, people smarter than me are making these types of decisions. Let's see. Who did I see?
Yeah, I've changed my draft a little bit in terms of like the top of the draft. I watched Hamilton, and I was saying that if he was that generational guy, I'd be willing to take him at 4. Didn't see generational. I saw a very, very good athlete. Way too many mental lapses in 3 games for him to be generational. I get that stuff's like easy to fix. But if it was so easy to fix, then Vernon Gholston would have had more than one career sack or a career sack. You know, like it's easy to make that leap because we just assume that players can make that leap. But he had pretty bad missed tackles. He had a lot of coverage lapses. He's really flat-footed in off coverage. He really depends on his athleticism, which you can't do in the NFL. So he's a guy who at 10 maybe. You can convince me to take him, but at 4, I've completely bailed out on that. So for me, I want to watch Neal. But again, I feel like Neal's more of a tackle than a guard. Like I think with 𝐗, because he's more powerful and he's a little bit more stout than Neal. Like Neal is 6'7". I think the tallest guard in NFL history is 6'7". Like you don't see a lot of guards at 6'7", so I don't really think he's a great fit there. So I'm really hoping for one of those 3 guys in terms of 𝐗 or one of the edge rushers. Past that, I'm all for trade down. But again, I'll watch Sewell or not Sewell, what's his face, and come to that decision. But I just don't see him being a fit at guard at his size. And Hamilton, I don't think it's worth it at 4. If he was generational, fine. He just not to me.
Eddie DeJesus drops in to Jesus. Says, at least the Jets don't have to draft a quarterback. Yes, this is nice. This is going into this draft. Kind of, it takes a lot of I don't want to say the pressure off, because you still have the pressure of like, okay, this quarterback needs to perform well, but you're just surrounding him with toys. And like, get him the weapons, get him the defense on the other side of the ball. I think there's a lot of ways the Jets can go about it, and there's not too many ways I'd be upset. I mean, I'm sure I could think of a few, but there's definitely like way more outcomes that I come away with a positive thought of our season. Jared drops in with a super chat, says the Jets need playmakers everywhere. Be aggressive in free agency so you can go best player available in the draft and not be forced to reach for a need. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Jared. Thank you so much. Yeah, look, ideally, the draft comes before free agency. You could take the best player available and then you plug all the rest of your needs in free agency afterwards. Unfortunately, it's not how the draft works, or not how the NFL works. So, yeah, you got to plug in all those holes in free agency as best you can, so that way you can go best player available. because, you're not going to go, obviously, if a quarterback's your top need, you're not taking a quarterback at the top of your draft board. But there is positional value that I think does come into play. So you might reach a little bit on someone like Karlaftis. Maybe they have him ranked somewhere around 15 or maybe later, and they want to take him at 10. And you reach a little bit because the positional value is greater than, maybe taking someone like a Linderbaum at 10, even though you like his upside. It's kind of an interesting discussion. So you kind of have to balance that between the two. What are your thoughts on positional value and, I guess, going best player available, and how would you like to be aggressive in free agency?
Again, like I like looking at the draft and where the Jets are slotted, and they assume what they're going to get. Mm-hmm. Like this draft up top is defensive heavy, so let's address a little bit more on offense. And again, like with what the playmakers thing, be aggressive in free agency so you get best player available. I 100% agree with Jared. Like get the offense locked down, get Zach what he needs in free agency so he can go into the draft and just do BPA, like literally exactly what he's saying. Because you don't want to pigeonhole yourself into, oh shit, we have to get a tight end. Oh, we have to get a receiver. Oh, we have to get a guard, because then you're reaching for guys. So I want to go offense heavy in free agency just so I could, sleep good at night. And then in the draft, it's defensive heavy. Draft defense, take those best players available. So if we go out in free agency and we get somebody said James Daniels in there, James Daniels or Connor Williams, or you're talking about Lakeland Tomlinson, and then they get Njoku or Schultz, which again, the number one guy, how often you really get the number one guy, and then they trade for Cooper, like cool, do it. Like I want that to happen. So again, you could do BPA, even if it is, let's say it's maybe a guard or whoever, that's fine, take them. But then you're not forced again to take offense when the defensive players are most likely going to be better at 4 and 10. So
all good thoughts. Let's see. Sorry, I'm clicking on things. Joe, you want to do a little mock off season here with the Jets X Factor simulator? How you feeling?
We could do that. And the thing about it too, by the way, I was going to drink tonight as well, but then once the Chiefs lost that game, I poured a little heavier like that last night, and I was just like, I woke up, I was like, oh my god, I don't recover like I did when I was like 21. I'm 28, but still, I don't recover as fast. Like no way, I'm not. Now I'm having coffee out of a ghost cup my wife bought. So I'm surprised nobody made fun of that yet.
Look, there you go. See, you're still 5 years old. You're fine.
Hey, it's okay. But we'll do the thing with it is just to preface it, we're still like honing everything in. So there's some guys who are available like in the second or third round who I don't think we should take if they're there, because it's probably unrealistic at that point. Like I think like who is it? There's somebody in the second round. I'd say Jermaine Johnson, or maybe it's not Jermaine Johnson. I think it might have been like 𝐗-𝐿𝐿 who I saw. I was like, hey, no, so.
If we catch anything that's interesting, because I believe this is the mid-season version of this mock-off season too, so it's not quite the updated top 50 or whatever, or top 200 prospects. But if you go through everything, you go through your cuts, your free agency, everything like that. It's a lot of fun. So we're going to share this screen.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to share it right now.
Hopefully I can see it on this little screen right here.
Chrome tab. Yep. Hold on. Let's see. Can you see that?
Hang on. If I gotta go to.
I don't know if people. I'm not on the live stream.
Yep. I got. Wham! Look at that.
We all got it.
So good.
Okay. All right.
Should I make our boxes bigger? I think I can make our boxes bigger if I wanted to.
Do people really want to see our face?
Is that what today? They don't want to see us. They just want to see us.
No, they don't care.
We're pretty up.
All right, and the thing, I think I don't know if we should go like ball. So what's the cap at right now? Is the cap at like 185 and it's going to go up to like 200?
Yeah, I've seen multiple different caps across the board. Like over the cap, I think has us at like 60 or 70 million. But then I've seen people tweet out that the Jets only had like $1 million in rollover, which feels completely wrong. So maybe it's lower than that. I think there's going to be more cap, and the Jets are going to be towards the top end of the salary cap space. One thing I did notice in this, I don't think it takes out money for like draft picks, so we probably have to stop at like 20 million.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say, like 20 million. But again, if the cap is going to jump up 20 million, can we get closer to like 10 million and then just assume the cap's going to jump up, because then it could be a little bit more realistic. Like I've been floating around about that too, in terms of like what to do. with that situation, because the cap is going to go up at least $10 million. So let's stop at 10, maybe give ourselves a little bit more freedom. I don't know how you feel about that.
Let's go 15. We'll split the difference.
All right. It's only your show.
That's all right. I just don't want to like sign everyone, and then everyone's like, "Oh my God, we could get every player we ever wanted forever," and this is gonna be amazing.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'll see people like post, and we love when people post it, obviously, because it promotes our stuff. They'll post it like, cap room left, $600,000. I'm like, great. I hope we traded all of our draft picks.
Yeah.
We can't sign one of them.
We can't sign anything.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go back to this. Enter Ryan Gray again. We are not the Draft Network or anybody else yet. We will get that. It'll happen. We'll get just draft guys, and then we'll have this completely locked down.
Working on.
Oh yeah, of course. So at first we could trade, which some of these trades we're just going to click through pretty quickly because we're not trading Zack Wilson, right? We don't want that.
Let's see. Well, so let's talk about what kind of trade we would want and see if we get something offered to us that we could have a discussion about, right?
A million first-round picks.
A zillion first-round pick. Let's say we want a receiver. I think that's probably a realistic outcome. And then we could go forwards and backwards between these trades. So if one pops up, we could click through, see if any others were popped up, and kind of click through.
I'm gonna just accept it. I'm not gonna ask you right here. I'm taking Baker in a third for Zack Wilson right now. Let's see.
Worth it.
Yep. Baker, Quinn. These were actually interesting, and it made me start to think about it. Like, if the Cowboys really offered me a first and a second for Q, I don't think I would pull the trigger. But if it was like two lower end for, like, let's say like Detroit was like a 31 and 34 for Q, if the Jets are in a position where they're like, we don't think we're going to sign him, like that's not the direction we want to go, then obviously you do it. But like, I don't know their internal thoughts about Q. So.
I think they like Q. I'd be surprised they didn't let him play out his rookie contract. At least I don't think we start negotiating with him this year though.
Yeah, not taking. You wouldn't take Corey Davis for a 4th-round pick, right?
Nah, I'm holding on to him.
3rd-round pick, no. Corey Davis and a 2nd and a 3rd for a 1st, no. George Fant for a 3rd, no. I could only see the Jets doing that. Like, let's say if like they felt like at like Charles Cross was there at 10, and they're like, oh my God, we absolutely love this guy, and then they can get a 3rd for him. Like, maybe they would do that, but I think they'd have to go to the draft to actually see that happen.
No, I would want more for Fant, to be honest. What did Orlando Brown go for? He went for a late 1st, I think. I don't know the age difference though.
Yeah, Orlando Brown was pretty young, like coming off of like his rookie contract, I think. But with Fant, like people say, like they always like to go like, oh, well, he's 28, 29 years old. But yeah, but how much miles does he have on the tires? Not a lot. So
not a lot at all.
He could be solid into his mid-30s, you'd think. But like, okay, let's keep moving. Mekhi Becton.
I'm gonna have you narrate because I'm on a phone, so I can't see what the actual things say with everything going on.
Oh, really? You can't like pull. Oh, okay.
I mean, I can see what's going on. Like I see it's Jets and Steelers trade, but I can't read the words.
Oh, okay.
It's
okay. Yeah, that Becton for a 1st-round pick, which would be like a early 20s for them. Becton for a 1st, no. Mims for a 6th. No. Mims for a 6th and a 7th. Let's see if there's any other ones.
Yeah.
This one I think I would probably do, to be honest.
What is it?
It's sorry, you can't. Yeah, I forgot. So it's Mims and our 4th-round pick, Carolina's 4th-round pick, but it's ours for the Lions 3rd. So you're moving up like 30 spots. From the 4th
I like
to the
that.
3rd round for Mims. So I think that's worth more than like a 6th or 7th-round pick.
All right, let's place mark that. That's probably a pretty solid trade because I don't think we're using Mims at all. I think he's got to be used as a trade asset in whatever capacity you can.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's accept that. You can only do one trade though.
Okay. We'll roll with that.
Yeah. Well. Okay. Which is again, we'll perfect all this stuff. Re-signing guys. Can you see this or no?
Yeah, I can see it. So I'm gonna say I don't know what the contract is, but I'm gonna say no to Marcus May.
Yeah, it's $10 million a year for 3 years, but I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not doing Crowder.
Crowder for 5.5, no. Tardif for 6.
I would go after LDT. I think that's a nice safety net that knows the offensive line. It's a little bit rich for him, but I think we have the money. I would do it. What would you do?
I'm fine with doing that. I think 6 is like might be a little bit expensive for him. So I think what would realistically happen, but unfortunately in the simulator we can't do this. I think if they go after one of like the bigger fish, the Tomlinsons, the Connor Williams, those guys, if they can't land one of those guys, then they sign LDT. But unfortunately, we have to do this first.
So no, I think we can actually click through. I don't think we have to do this particular one. I think we can go to free agents at the top if you click back and forth.
Well, right here, but these are only. We have clear space and free agents. We have to actually advance to go to free agency.
I gotcha. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so I'm gonna sign LDT because I don't know how that's gonna go.
Okay, that's fine. Keelan Cole for 5.5. Massively disappointing this year. This one always says, I don't know why it says interior offensive lineman for Morgan Moses, but $5.5 million.
I like him. I would do that for 5.5, but I think he'll get more elsewhere.
Yeah, so do I. I don't think he's gonna sign back with the Jets. You know, he has great words to say, but you're 30 years old. He can maybe play a year for another place and start and get more money than that. Feeney for 3.5. No. Who's a steal for 5.5? I don't know who Kudos is saying about that. Joe Flacco for 3.5
is a steal for 5.5. Definitely. I would bring back Flacco. I think what's going to happen is I don't think we're dead set on bringing back Mike White. I think Saleh liked Flacco, which just boggles my mind because I'd really like to retain White.
So would you rather sign White? Because I think White is like 2.5 million if you wanted to sign him instead of.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is one I think we're gonna disagree on because you like LaMarcus Joyner. I think he signed for cheaper this last year, and he got injured, or maybe was it about this?
So he signed for 1 year, $1.1 million this past year. So he won't get 1 year, 3, but I would bring him back if he would sign for one, like vet min. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I'm not signing for 3.
Okay.
Not at 31. If it was like 1 or 1.5, I'd be down for that. But I think we're wasting $1.5 million right there.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Croft for 2.
No, I think we're coaching enough guys in the Senior Bowl that if I had to double dip in the draft, I'd be okay doing it.
Really, I would do that. But again, it's your show.
So, okay, let's go. It's us doing it. Okay, let's go with Croft. I do like Croft because I would move on from Griffin anyway.
Again, I don't want to go into so for me, past Tyler Croft, there's really not much guys who are rosterable. So I think if you have him and you can bring him back for $2 million, and let's say ideally he lands as your third tight end, that's I think he's a good third tight end. And again, for a team who's going to be 12 personnel heavy, ideally, you want to have some good depth. So
let's go with it. I like it.
Okay, tight end 3, $2 million. I'll take it. McDermott 1.4. McDermott is one of the worst players I've ever watched in my life. I do not want him on the Jets.
Yes, agreed.
Vinny Curry 1.3. Backup rotational edge. Obviously got injured last year.
I don't think he's ever playing again. I think what he has is a retirable thing. I think he's probably done.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's got some sort of blood disorder.
We have to look into that then. Tevin Coleman 1.1.
Yes, I would bring him back.
Agreed. I think again, ideally, he's like your running back 3 or 4, but I'll pay $1 million and I'll pay $1.1 million for running back 3 or 4. Sherrod Niesman for about $1 million.
I don't have any sort of feeling one way or the other. If you got one,
so I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
Nathan Shepard for $0.9 million.
Nope.
Okay, cool with that. Mike White for 2. That's the guy you said you would like.
Yeah, I would prefer White.
Okay, so we'll take White. Jeff Smith for 0.78 as receiver 6.
Yeah, why not? I mean, worst case scenario, you cut him later on, but I think he knows the system. I like him. He's fast.
I'm cool with this. Well, with that one. The next one is Shawn Phillips. It's 1 year for 2. Obviously, he's not a guy who's going to play at linebacker for us, hopefully, really ever. But I know he led the Jets in special teams tackles, and he's a really good special teams guy. So I don't know if I would do this, but I think the Jets would probably do this.
How much is he?
$2 million.
$2 million
for special teams guy.
Getting what? Hardy's getting 4.
No, I thought it was 2.5 or 3.
Is he only getting that much?
I think so.
So
it could be a little bit more.
Okay, so what do you think? You think they go with that? I'm all right if you want to pull the trigger on it. I'm cool with making this as realistic as we possibly can, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Isaiah Williams, $3 million. I have no idea why he's $3 million in the simulator, but I know.
Hold on real quick before we get any further. Richard Delgado drops in with the super chat. Richard says, how to rebuild. Sign and trade Wilson for Mayfield. Trade for Tyron Smith or Zach Martin. Get Marshawn Lattimore. Get Van Der Esch from the Cowboys. Richard, you jerk you. No. Get the flock in here. All right.
I don't think the last two things. I don't think if the Saints were
I
getting rid
love
of
Lattimore. That would be fantastic. Yeah. The Saints are in cap hell, and if they trade Lattimore, they're actually in worse cap shape than if they kept them.
Yeah, I don't think Marshawn Lattimore or Van Der Esch would be two bad options, but everything the first sentence is terrible.
so interesting. If you're looking at players you would want to trade for from the Saints, would love Lattimore, would love Kamara, would love Ramczyk. Those guys all signed deals recently. They would all cost the Saints more money, so they're not trading them at all. zero shot it happens.
Yeah, and at this point, I would have to push back into the not the Lattimore thing, the Kamara thing, because are we really running back away, paying him a big salary? No. Like I don't,
Agree. I'm just naming like the big names.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on.
Michael Thomas, different story though. Interesting.
Michael Thomas, again, another head case who seems like a me guy. I don't really want him around Zack Wilson, to be completely honest.
Cooper is probably the safest option, with the biggest issue being his contract, because he's not a top 5 receiver right now.
Yeah.
But if I had to stomach big contract for 3 years, I'm okay with Cooper. Cooper for 3 years at 20, while Zach's on his rookie deal, it's not crazy.
Again, like the Giants signed Galladay for right about $20 million. So is Cooper better than Galladay? I think so. To be completely honest. So if you want to do it, for a couple of years, and then hope you draft the guy who develops into a legit number one, maybe Elijah Moore does, and then you figure out another guy. This next one is 𝐗-𝐅𝐚𝐜, 2 for 4, backup slot for $2 million a year. I think that's what he is.
I like him. Yeah, I do like 𝐗-𝐅𝐚𝐜. I like him behind Carter.
I'm cool with that. Tim Ward, I don't really want to waste any money on him. I don't know if you do.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So this is an interesting one. Foley Fatukasi, 3 years, $9 million a year.
I like Foley a lot. I don't think we do it. I'd be surprised.
Neither do I. I just I think if they were to run more hybrid systems this year, and they were put him in more of a 2-gap situation as a nose, and they didn't try to kind of square peg round hole him into like a 3-tech and a penetrator, then maybe they would do that this year, and that would be his role. But again, he's kind of with a penetrating system, he's square peg round hole. And I don't think that's good for his future in terms of producing. Like there's a reason he dropped off a little bit this year in terms of the impact he made. So I don't think it happens either, which now you're looking at him, most likely not getting signed. Then you're looking at Rankins, probably getting cut for $5.5, $6 million savings. D tackle becomes an underrated need in the first couple of rounds, and it's not something that like you really need, and it's not like the highest priority, but you need like that nose tackle, like run stuff. Even if you get a guy of like Steve McClendon's level, I'm not sure how he played this year, but like they need something in the middle right there. But I don't think it's Foley either. So
yeah, I think we probably wind up passing on that. And then is Berrios the last guy on this? No, there's another one.
There's only a couple more guys. Braxton Berrios, 5 for 5, or sorry, 3 for 15.
I would love to. Yeah, I'd love to bring him back.
Yeah, 5 or 6 million is my highest I would go. I think for him though. I don't know what you feel about that.
I have a gut feeling we're not bringing him back.
Really?
Yeah, I think we want to, but I think he's going to get a higher offer, and I think Douglas sticks to his guns. And I'm a little concerned about it.
Yeah, the thing is with him, like, how much do you want to overpay him? Because to me, he's a very good returner, but what he does on offense is very replicatable. And ideally, if Elijah Moore is healthy, it's Elijah Moore taking those reps, and it's not Braxton Berrios. Like Berrios, he did some good things, but a lot of his like runs, you're looking at it, it's more blocking him running into wide open space than it was him doing something amazing. So you're looking at a backup slot, a backup gadget receiver, and a really good returner. So if you're talking about $7-8 million, I'm out. $5-6 million is probably the most I'm willing to do.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Okay, Kyle Phillips, 2 for 4. I am willing to do that because I think he's a good rotational piece, and I like Kyle Phillips probably more than other people.
Let's go with it.
Okay. Keep moving on. I think we have one more guy, which is Elijah Riley, $2 million a year. I'm going to say absolutely not because he's he was on a
Garbage.
practice squad. I don't think he really proved a lot. I think he had a couple of nice games, but he literally lost us that Tampa Bay game. Obviously, other than some other, there's some other guys involved in that, but that one big play, he completely blew his assignment. So I don't think he's worth $2 million a year. I'm looking at Joyner getting signed for $1 million, $1.5 million last year. Is he worth more than Joyner was coming to the Jets last year? I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay.
So that gets us through our free agents. Then we got to go through cuts, right?
Yeah, cuts. I think we can only do 5 or 6 though. So we got to be kind of smart with them. I've pretty much mapped this out.
Okay, so I would say I know guys I definitely want to move on from.
Okay, go ahead.
Greg Van Roten.
Okay, I'll cut him. That saves us 3.5. Okay.
Yep. Rankins is like 5.5.
Yep.
Lawson is still on our roster in there, so I would cut him.
Of course,
9. I cut 𝐗-𝐅𝐚𝐿 personally. I don't know how you feel on that.
Yeah, I would honestly cut 𝐗-𝐅𝐚𝐿 or 𝐻 Johnson. 𝐻 Johnson's a little bit more. I think honestly they're both not going to be on the team next year.
Oh, really?
Ideally, for me, the Jets bring in like a Raheem Mostert type guy for like $1 million, $1.5 million. They bring back 𝐗-𝐭𝐬, and then you draft the guy in the first, 3, 4, 5 rounds, and or hopefully rounds 3 or 4. And that's the 1A, 1B with Carter. Then again, it's like Raheem Mostert and 𝐗-𝐭𝐬 backing them up. But yeah, I'm fine with either one of them getting cut though.
Let's cut 𝐗-𝐅𝐚𝐿 just because I feel like he's more square peg round hole.
Because you really hate him.
I don't really hate him. I really don't. I just it doesn't feel like he fits at all. He feels like the odd man out in that quarter or in that running back room.
Yeah. Next guy I always cut is Ryan Griffin, 3.2. I'm not paying Ryan Griffin 3.2.
Yep.
And I think there's one more, and I always cut him too because I just get sick of hearing his name because he's always injured, and that's Blake Cashman for about $1 million.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just never want to hear that name again. Okay, cool. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay, so now we're going to free agents. We have $55 million in cap, so we're going to spend. We said now $40 million to spend.
Yeah, we're going to keep it to $15 million is what we need left to sign our draft class. Yeah, that's what we're going to say.
Kevin Chada says why 𝐗-𝐅𝐚𝐿 cheap? Why cut cheap deal? Because he's going to get cut because he's not rosterable. That's why I think.
Yeah.
So for me, going into free agency, like my mindset, like the 3 positions I absolutely think they need to sign, and obviously it can change depending on what happens to the roster, but safety is a massive need for the Jets, and it's pretty stocked in safety. I really, really want a tight end. I think we all do. And then past that, I would love to land a bigger time receiver in this mock. We can't trade for Cooper or anything like that. And another guy I would really want, but depending on his ACL. I wish he didn't injure it, but if they pass Devontae Adams, because we're talking about this $40 million. If Devontae Adams wants $40 million or $30 million, are we really ready to only spend another $10 million in free agency if we get Devontae Adams? Personally, I'm not. I don't think we're at that point in our process yet. But
I'll take 2 Carl Lawsons that are on the field as opposed to one.
Exactly. Let's say that let's say you could sign for that price for $30 million. Let's say you could sign. Oh, you can get Amari Cooper for
Adams, Justin Houston, or something like that.
Well, you could literally get for offense. You could probably get 𝐗-𝐿, Connor Williams, and Amari Cooper for one guy. I'd rather do that because there's so many holes than to just throw $30 million at one receiver. I know he's great, but we are not at that spot in our kind of life cycle right now.
Agreed. I think he winds up following Rodgers and taking a lesser deal. I think that's the end result there.
Yeah.
So what position? I agree. I would say tight end and safety are the 2 I'm desperately in, and then running wide receiver is definitely another one. Now on that trade front, at the very beginning of our process, there was an option when I did it earlier, and I think it was Calvin Ridley for 2 seconds. I think is what it was. What was offered. So there are some interesting options available, but I don't know. I don't think I would give up 2 seconds for Ridley. That seems like a lot.
No, even a second at this point, they'd have to be really, 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 really comfortable with his mental status, to trade a second because they're so high. But the guy was saying before, like Godwin, I would have went balls deep for Godwin if they could have, and maybe even they do. If they're that comfortable with his medical and he's gonna get a little bit slower, or come back a little bit slower. But if you're looking at Godwin healthy, let's say week 4, week 5, week 6, as long as he's here for half the season or so. And going forward, you're looking at Godwin, Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, that's ridiculous. So if they can get him,
That's not a bad way to look at it. So let's say, what's our top need? Are we going to say tight end or safety first? Let's go tight end. I feel like everyone wants Schultz. That's like the first priority. I feel like whenever I hear.
I honestly feel like he's going to get more than 12 million.
So I think we still go after Schultz, and then if we don't get him, then maybe we look at safety and then go back to tight end. Is that fair?
Okay, yeah. So you want to try to sign him for 12. Again, people can reject your deal. Sometimes everybody rejects, and you just have a really shitty mock, and you just restart it. So hopefully we get lucky.
Let's see if we get him.
Okay. Accepts. Okay, we have Dalton Schultz on the roster for $12 million a year.
I like it. Let's jump over to safety. Let's see what we got to work with.
Now, I think like realistically managing the cap, we should probably sign we have 43, so we have about 30. A guy I really like, and I think he's probably a little bit cheaper in this mock than he's probably going to go for, is Justin Reed. So if you want to save some money and spend it elsewhere, like obviously people are going to love Williams, they're going to love Bates, but is Bates worth almost $50 million a year? And Justin Reed's worth 8. Like I think Reed is a step below those guys, but still really good. So I would kind of plant my flag for Justin Reed here. Yeah,
I agree. I think bang for your buck. I think if you go with the top end tight end, I think Joe Douglas looks bargain hunting with the rest of the free agents, or at least to some extent.
Yeah, somebody says you're crazy if you want to get rid of Ty Johnson underutilized. Yeah, there's plenty of really bad plays that he put on film this year. Justin Reed, he's elsewhere. We are not getting Justin Reed.
All right, let's go after Marcus Williams. Screw it.
You want to go? Okay.
Baller status.
Baller status. Andre Diggs for 9. Okay. Okay. So hold on. So would you rather spend? I think this is like $16 million a year on Marcus Williams, or 14 for Bates.
Bates is 26? Is it a 2-year difference?
No, Bates is 20. Bates is 24.
Oh damn! I didn't realize he's that young.
Yeah, he's about to be 25, but I don't know.
I think the Bengals franchise tag him because I think they have $60 million in cap. I think Williams makes sense to hit free agency with all the cap space they have. Or don't. Let's go with Williams.
That's elsewhere.
Okay. Well,
now
let's go.
Bates.
Let's try Bates. We'll go down the list.
Elsewhere.
So I think Jabril Peppers, I think, is coming off Achilles, maybe. Is that right? Or ACL?
The other guys I like the most out of these guys is Quandre Diggs. But he's 28. He's a little bit older, but still, you're not going to have young guys every place. And I think Diggs is pretty good. And then past that, I remember seeing who else was it? Curse is another guy I think is not a bad fit either. Tracy Walker. Do you want to try what's his face?
Yeah, let's give Diggs a try.
Diggs. Elsewhere, we're getting screwed on the safety front, my friend.
We're gonna have to go Hamilton early.
No.
No.
Curse.
Sure,
Cowboys,
let's
right?
go.
8 million. Elsewhere.
Sure.
Oh my God. We need to get
this
somebody.
feels like
Tracy
a Jets
Walker.
free agent. You made this too realistic.
Elsewhere, we're getting.
Just go down the list. Go for age at this point. Let's go Jabril Peppers upside. We got the local
Woods,
kid.
$9 million a year. I'm not really too sure about him, but if I think if we're saying $9 million, try it. Accept.
Okay.
Got Xavier Woods.
All right. That's our safety. Lovely. Not feeling confident.
Cadoza's not happy. Listen, Cadoza, we got rejected. A lot of these guys, but at least we got Schultz so far. Next, do you want to splash at wide receiver or no?
Yeah, let's see where we can spend some money. I think that would be the other spot.
We have $34 million.
All right, so we got. Do we actually have $34 million, or are we keeping it to 15 and we got?
Oh yeah, so we have about $20 million left to spend.
All right, so we got $20 million left to spend.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're going to go after Allen Robinson. I think a higher upside guy, if you're okay with the injury to start, would definitely be Godwin.
Godwin? That's I suck at math. What is that? Is that 50?
I can't tell you.
15,
I can't see
15,
it.
7, no,
I
18
can't
million?
read those numbers, Joe. They're too
I don't know.
small.
What's 85 divided by 5? Like 18 million?
85 divided by 5 is that 15?
No, no, I don't think so. Is it? No, that's 75. That's 75. So it's 17 million a year. 17? 17. Yeah,
okay. 17. So what is it? It's Godwin at 17. What's Robinson at?
He's at 10, but I honestly think he's going to get more like 13, 14. So that would be an absolute steal. I would definitely be willing to do that, but I don't know.
I would say I like Robinson at that number over Godwin at his number. What other options we got for receiver? I don't want to. We're not touching that. We're not touching Fuller for injury. Helton's old. Juju's a diva.
Yep, agreed.
Sanders, I don't think is the type of receiver. I mean, 𝐗-𝐷 interesting. He's older though. I think he stays with the contender. Mike Williams, I think Williams stays with his with the Chargers. Brown, I'm not touching. Kirk, I don't hate. What is he getting on a contract?
It is $12 million a year.
I don't know if I love him for that.
Yeah, I don't love him with that either.
What's Odell get?
10.
1 year, 10. Man, he's made a little bit of a resurgence for me from like a skill perspective. I still think he's a little bit of a head case, but I would probably not go with him either.
No, the thing is like the like what's the word I'm looking for? Like the fanboy in me wants him just because again I hate the Giants and to see him do well with the Jets would make me smile. But I don't think you want like that type of like. And I think he's calmed down a little bit with his diva stuff. But again, 29 years old, going to be 30. You know, like I want more of a solidified option there instead of a guy who's going to be here for a year or two, probably.
Sure, I think I could see Godwin being more of a realistic option now that Brady looks like he's retiring. It seems by like reports he might be, or maybe he's not.
Splash for Godwin at $17 million a year.
I mean, we missed out on the big money safety, so why not, right?
He's going to reject this anyway.
Do you think is that like too much for an ACL tear?
I think that's right about where he fits. Like I think he's more of like if Devontae Adams didn't get $30 million and you have Golladay who got 19 last year, I think he's probably like if he was healthy, probably going to get like $21 million a year. So if you could sign him for a discount, $4 million, average out over a couple of years, so you're talking about 12, 16, $20 million discount. Of the life of that contract for Godwin, and you just have to eat him being, injured for camp and injured for maybe a week or two of the season, or maybe 3, 4, 5, whatever. I would personally do it because I think he's a legit number one.
Mm-hmm. So I would say if I had to rank, I would say Robinson because realistic option with some connections we have. And then I think
you're breaking up a lot, Ryan.
I'm breaking up a lot?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, I barely heard anything you just said.
Hello?
Yep, okay. He's gone. Hey, well, welcome to Jets X Factor. I'm gonna take it over. Jets Talk 24/7 blows. Not a big fan. But hopefully we can get back.
I'm back. Now I gotta how do we do this? Bam. All right. Oh,
okay.
Geez. Sorry. Okay.
I was talking shit about Jets talk. So
everyone's talking smack. Okay, I see how it is.
Yeah. No, I was too.
Am I still sounding weird, or do I sound all right?
Much better.
All right, good. So I was saying if I had to look at my 3 like receivers that I might consider, it would probably be Godwin. If you think that the knee's not the concern, I think Allen Robinson would probably be number 2, and then I'd probably go with someone like DJ Clark as maybe my 3rd option. Price point.
So try to make a splash with Godwin, and then
let's start with Godwin and work our way down.
The thing with Robinson, like I think it's a nice name, to be completely honest, but I don't know how well he really fits in this offense, and I really want to watch how much air quotes he declined this year. If he declined a lot, is he really worth signing? Yeah. If he's going to start declining, you want a guy who's on the upswing, so you're not just replacing all these guys that Zack Wilson's going to be throwing to. But so Godwin first.
Yeah, I think
elsewhere.
So Robinson's what, 28?
Robinson's 28, yeah, and the thing with him too is like he was I'm pretty sure he was drafted like really young, so like he's an old 28.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it feels like he was on Jacksonville for like 5 years, has been with the Bears for like 4. It feels like
3 or 4 years. I'll be willing to. People are saying I would probably be willing to sign DJ Shark Chark for a couple of years at $10 million over Godwin for a 1-year deal.
All right, let's go with it. I could roll with that.
Let's see. Accepts. Okay. Second tier guy, but we have a bunch like he's, hopefully develops into like a solid number 2, and then we'll go from there. Okay. Next position, we have about $10 million to spend.
All right, $10 million. I was just going to say guard. Guard is definitely where I would look.
Okay. Brandon Sheriff, obviously.
I would not. He's not available for a ton of games. I think we need people that are available more frequently. Now, we did retain LDT at $6 million. So this probably impacts how you deal with the draft, I would think. If you're already given $6 million, and if you're going to spend close to $10 million on a guard here, you're probably not looking one early. Do we want to go with Tomlinson from the 49ers, or is that too many years?
3 for it's about $11 million a year, so we'd be a little bit past our budget, but obviously we could do that, and I'm sure the Jets could adjust. He's about to be 30. I'm cool with him. Corbett at $12 million a year, Connor Williams at 11, and he's only 24. I would probably do Connor Williams over him just because of the age factor.
I do like the age factor with Connor. He has a ton of penalties. He's got so many penalties.
Okay.
What is Daniels at? How much is Daniels?
I don't know if is he in here? I don't think we put him in here, so we have to adjust that too. No, I don't see him.
Okay, so let's go with Tomlinson, because I think unless there's another position you think we could go.
It depends on how the draft fall. Like that's the problem. Like if I don't want to pigeonhole ourselves into something, because let's say if we really think that me personally, if Thibodeau, Hutchinson are going to go really early in the draft, and Ickey's most likely going to be there, I'd rather have Ickey than Lake and Tomlinson. But so people are saying get an edge corner.
Let's take a look at edge, because I think it's less likely that edge is there. I would go for a veteran edge, I think, because that doesn't prevent you from taking a young edge in the draft.
People are saying corner too. People want corner or edge. I don't know what we
corner or edge. Do we go big game hunting and go after J.C. Jackson? But he's probably getting $20 million a year.
The thing with the draft this year is the edge. I want to look into them more because again, that's that sexy position that always rises. It seems like there's guys legitimately who are going to be pretty good in round 2 this year, which is kind of crazy to say.
Okay. So we're going to say, are we passing on the veteran edge? We're going to look for corner instead. I'm okay with
corner,
that.
And then hopefully we hit guard and edge in the draft early. I don't.
Okay, I'm good with that. Let's see what we got. So we got $10 million to spend, right?
Ish, yeah, about that.
Ish. Okay. So where are we looking? I don't know what the contracts look like from here.
Gilmore's $14 million for 2 years. Or $14 million per year for 2. Joe Hayden 2 years, $20 million. Let's see some other options. Patrick Peterson for $8 million a year for 2 years. Darius Williams, that's too much. We don't have enough for that. J.C. Jackson's obviously a massive contract. We're not going to be able to afford that. Steven Nelson for 2 years, $8 million a year. Hayward, $8 million. P.J. Williams, Levi Wallace, all kind of second-tier guys. Dante Jackson's not a bad one, $7 million a year from the what did he play with the Panthers?
Got me. Yeah, I think so. Maybe. God, I don't even know. I don't love the corners. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But I like J.C. Jackson, and I don't want to say that's it, but that's kind of it. I'd rather roll with our young guys and then let them get some more experience than overpay for some of these guys.
Okay,
I would rather go veteran edge personally. If you could get someone around the $10 million range for a year or 2, I think is probably almost playing a Jason Taylor type role. The veteran guy comes in. You still have a vet in Carl Lawson. He's at 6 years in the league now, or will be 6 years in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Von Miller leaves. I'd be surprised if that happened, unless he's just looking for a paycheck at the end of his career.
Yeah. Let's see. Emmanuel Ogbah, 7.5. Hassan Reddick is pretty expensive. Derek Barnett, 1 year, $6 million. Justin Houston, Charles Harris, Harold Landry's a lot of money. Randy Gregory. I don't really know who we'd grab.
So tough.
Yeah, I haven't really looked at edge a lot, to be completely honest. I think of the draft a lot, but
How many years is Chandler Jones?
3 years for $46 million.
What is that? 12? No, more than 12 a year. Was it 16? Is that 16 a year?
No, it's 50. Yeah, well, yeah, 15
plus a year, 15.5.
15.56 or something, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not a bad option, honestly, because I think there's gonna be some edges in the draft. We didn't love the corners. I think signing like a decent linebacker and that nose tackle that we need might not be a bad option. Like get like two guys.
So let's do that. Let's look for the linebacker from Atlanta.
Okay.
I think he's
𝐗-𝐿𝐴 $5 million.
Yep. Let's do him.
Rejected.
What? We have your linebackers coach, you jerk.
He doesn't like him. Jayon Brown's not a bad. I like Jayon Brown from Tennessee for $6 million a year. I don't think that's that bad of an option, to be honest. I like him.
Let's do it.
Accepts. Okay. Mm-hmm. So now we can spend like $3-4 million on a run stuffing nose tackle. I know people are not going to think that's great, but like they legitimately need that if they're not bringing back Foley, and we cut Rankins. Like right now, our D tackles are. We have 𝐗-𝐷, but past that, it's like Jonathan Marshall. We didn't sign back Shepard either.
There's no one.
Okay, so interior defensive line. The only problem is I don't really know who out of these has like a true run stuffing nose tackle. I know there's one guy who is though. What's his name? I think it's DJ Jones for $5 million a year.
Let's do it. That makes sense with our math too.
Accepts. Okay, that's fine. So we're a little bit over, but we'll figure it out. Even though like realistically, again, the Jets need like 19-20 million to sign their draft class, and then teams always leave like $3 to $5 million ish typically for like in season cost. Even though some teams are negative, so I don't really know how that works. So maybe not. But now the draft again, like some people are, some of the numbers are unrealistic, and we will fix all of it. But it is a draft. Definitely gotta tighten it up. We'll figure some stuff out with the draft.
See, this is what happens. This is like a real Jet off season. You wind up getting screwed by all these free agents. You're like, oh no, what do you mean Tooney didn't come here? He went to the Super Bowl caliber Chiefs. Oh, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay,
all right, so you can click on pick history, right? So let's see who went first. Hutchinson.
Something else we're gonna fix too. I know the next one is we're gonna put the positions next to the guys too, so you can kind of easier to track. You pick guys like the 6th round, like what freaking position does he play again? You know?
Oh yeah. Good looks. All right, let's see who we got. So what was it? It was none of the linemen went. Is that right? It was Tibb, Hutch,
Hutchinson, Thibodeau, and Kyle Hamilton.
All right, I'm probably going Icky here.
Yes, so like this is again something we have to fix. He is way down, but I think again it's realistic. I really, really, really like what I see from him. So I know he's at 39 for us. That's going to change, but I'll definitely take him.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. People are going to hate no matter what we do. You know.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, but
you got to think we only got LDT in free agency. We didn't get anyone else, so we still need the long-term answer. You don't know what's going to happen with Becton. The worst thing that could happen this year is Becton plays like 2020 Becton. He gives you 70% of the snaps. Then Fant's contract expires, McGovern's contract expires, and Becton you have to decide on his 5th-year option that offseason. I think it puts you in a bad situation, and Icky kind of really helps you out in a lot of ways. Yeah.
No, I and that offensive line, like, listen, I know people see like the quarterback get hit like a couple times a game, like, oh my God, it's terrible. When they had Darnold, it was legitimately one of the worst lines in the NFL. Last year, it was like a little bit below average. To average, especially when they're healthy, like, towards the end of the year. But towards the end of the year, they obviously got injured. But like towards the end of the year, when they're all healthy, it got to about average level. If they have Becton healthy, Fant, Icky, McGovern, and ABT, you're looking at what should be a legitimate like top 10 offensive line. So Douglas really, kind of promised or made good on his promises. The line was going to be great. So
yeah, I think that's the right selection.
Yeah. So here, I don't know what you're thinking, but if the board like this, and assuming,
so I can't see how it went. Can we just look at the pick history?
Oh, okay,
Just read it off to me because again, words are teeny tiny.
Yeah, yeah. Evan Neal went 5. Stingley went 6. Matt Corral, the quarterback, went 7 to the Giants. Malik Willis, obviously quarterback, went to the Falcons. And then Charles Cross, the tackle, went to Mississippi State. So some of the top guys here that I see, Ahmad Gardner, Sauce Gardner, 𝐉𝐞𝐭𝐬, Drake London, Carl Loftus, Garrett Wilson, Linderbaum, Andrew Booth, like the guys who I see there. I have one preference. I don't know if I'll let you go first. Maybe you have the same preference as I do.
So let's talk it out. Who did we get at receiver in free agency? We didn't get Robinson?
No, we got DJ Chark.
DJ Chark. All right, so receiver's still in need. I would say we're done with the offensive line. I would go edge probably in the top 10. Take the best one you like. If Karlaftis is there and you like him, that's probably the pick.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Like now you're looking at the trenches, and again, this is all preface to say, like before, and I'm fine with like letting people in my thought process, whatever. But like before, when we're doing this, the live streams before I watched Hamilton, I was more on like, okay, convincing people of Hamilton at 4. Now I'm off that train. So I might watch Karlaftis and be like, this guy sucks. I don't want him at 10. But assuming he's actually like the next best edge and he's there at 10, I would definitely take him. So we're cool with that. Karlaftis at 10. Okay, so now biggest needs are what? Linebacker, safety, another developmental receiver, tight end.
I guess if we got Schultz, maybe you push tight end to like 3rd, 4th round. Could you do you still take McBride high even if you get Schultz?
Yeah, I forgot we got him. Okay.
So we've got our edge rusher, we've got our guard / tackle. So we're probably looking safety high. We didn't get a safety we wanted.
Yeah, the only problem with
I think Battle's still in there, but he went back.
Yeah, so a guy I've seen higher on other mock drafts who's here and he's at 51, but Brisker, the Penn State guy, I've seen him like high, like low to high 30s. So I think that would be a good option. And then we have, and I completely forgot we signed Schultz, so I wouldn't be looking at a guy like in the 2nd round, but I would consider it. But I think and we have Robert McCreary, which I don't know if he's worth the 30 or the whatever pick we're at right now, but he's a corner. I think corner, linebacker, developmental receiver are pretty big needs.
So linebacker wise, I would say Dean, Lloyd, and then Muma are probably the 3 that I've kind of focused in on. Mainly because the top 2, I haven't watched enough of Harris.
Okay.
The top 2 are probably off the board, I would think, right?
Yeah, and Burks is here. I don't know if Burks is going to be available at this point in the draft, to be completely honest. But we never know.
Do we take Burks? I don't think we take Burks because I do think he's gone. I think that's probably. I think he goes before that.
Yeah.
So do we want to say he? Do we want to say he go? Oh, man, I hate this. I need a receiver. Hold on. What receivers went? Let's look at what receivers went, and then maybe we wind up taking Burks, or if London's there, maybe we look at London.
So the receivers that went, David Bell went. Let's see who else. Am I missing anybody? Garrett Wilson went. Drake London went. 𝐉𝐞𝐿𝐵 went. The best receivers available right now, if we were to take a receiver. Burks, but I really don't think he's going to be there. Dotson's up there.
I would go Dotson. Let's assume Burks is gone, because I don't think it's realistic that he's still there at that point. I would go Dotson, I think.
Okay, that's fine. I would.
I would go probably Brisker at 38.
Okay, so we'll take Dotson, and then we have what's his name still? Yeah, Brisker. Safety's a massive need. Like we have.
Yeah, we don't have a starter right now.
We literally don't have one starter, so we probably need 2 safeties.
Yeah, let's pull the trigger on the safety here.
Safety. We need a linebacker still. We need another safety. We need a corner. So our defense is falling behind, and a tight end still maybe.
So let's say we're getting into the 3rd. What did we trade? What was our trade that we made for? Can you see how many picks we have? Because we made some type of trade where we traded Mims for like something else.
We traded Mims and a 4th to move up really high in a 3rd. So now we're going to have 2 higher 3rd round picks.
2 thirds. Okay. So I think here is where we get our hometown kid Ruckert at tight end as our secondary guy behind Schultz. And then if Muma's here, I think you look for him at linebacker. Those would be my two choices, I think, without seeing who's on the board.
I don't see Muma anywhere. I think he went already. I don't see him anywhere. Oh yeah, no, he's really low in this, which is okay. Fine, we'll take that gift.
Yeah, let's pull the trigger on him. And
no, there's another safety here who I wouldn't be against this because 𝐗-𝐭𝐬 is here, or 𝐗, whatever his name is, from Georgia. So we need another safety. So we need safety, linebacker, tight end.
So what do we? Let's go away from safety just because we just took one. Do we think Muma falls further than the third round, or do we like other tight ends? Like, do we think Ruckert's available in the fourth round, or do we don't have the fourth round pick? I think we go back to the fifth then because we traded away fourth and Mims, right?
Yeah, but we have 2 fourths, right? The Jets have 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 fourths. So now we have 2 thirds instead of 2
right.
fourths.
2 fourths and 2 fifths. That's right. We only have 1/3. Okay.
Yeah. So obviously it's gonna be your decision, but I would take the other starting safety here because it's still a starter. Like it's not like we're taking a backup safety. Like so right now we're talking about backup safety versus a second tight end, and we need we need a starting linebacker too over a tight end.
Okay.
Like, I love Ruckert, but
so let's pass on Ruckert. Let's go with I don't know. You want to go Muma or you want to go with the safety, right? Let's go with the safety.
It's another starter. Like it's not a backup.
We're going with the Jets X Factor opinion. I love it.
And a couple picks later, Ruckert's still there if you want to take Ruckert.
Ruckert's still there. Okay, so our next pick would be a fourth round pick then. Where are their power rankings in relation to one another?
On this, Ruckert's at 68 and Muma's down at like 100 something.
All right, let's go Ruckert. Get our hometown boy.
Yeah, that's what I really do want Ruckert now. Like it's definitely like bias is creeping in because he's wore a Jets jersey when he was 4.
Yeah, it's exciting. Did you see the picture of him with the jet paint on the side of the cheek?
Yeah. Cavs asking no trade downs in this mock. There will be trades in a future one, but not right now.
All right, so we still need a linebacker.
We need a linebacker badly.
Muma
is gone.
No! Don't provide linebacker.
Check again.
Refresh.
We have to start this over again.
Do it over again.
The best guys, the linebackers. I don't know if you know any of these guys. I don't personally know. Like again, we're talking about 5th round, so maybe in a mock draft I've seen them before. But Grant Morgan, Jack Campbell, Idafun Olofosho, Malcolm Rodriguez.
None of those.
Yeah.
Kev Chada, I see in there. We'll give you a summary. We're almost done. Once we're done with this draft, we'll go over the whole mock off season.
Yeah. So the best guys on this board that's showing, like honestly, if we didn't take what was the receiver we got? We got Dotson, right? Which is awesome. Like now you're looking at a receiver core. Like we don't. The legit number one's not there, even though I think Moore can be that. His rookie year was very, very good, but you're looking at Moore, Chark, Davis, and Dotson. Like, damn. And Robinson's here, like from Kentucky, like the big yak guy. But I don't think.
Wandale.
Yeah, Wandale Robinson's here. But do we need a 5th receiver right now?
Well, you use no running back, right? Like flex them all over the place.
Oh, we need a running back too. Actually, that's
not
another thing.
Not the worst decision. Right?
Yeah, we need a running back.
Devontae Wyatt for DT says HMNI Cardoza.
Wyatt for it's legitimately a need for the Jets. I know we took a lower tier guy in free agency, but I think I would want like a backup good interior defensive lineman versus literally a 5th receiver.
All right, so let's go that.
All right, Cardoza, take it.
We got you. No,
he wants to go like proper roster depth, because then Q gets injured. Who's coming in? You need some depth there. Okay. We need a lot. Okay, so
just linebackers the rest of the way out.
There's
same thing we did with safety.
There's a guy right down here. Like that's I think it's actually not a bad option. Is I've seen this name before. Jack Sanborn from Wisconsin. He's a linebacker. He's a couple spots down, but I would take him. His name is
Sandworm.
Sandborn. S-A-N born.
B-O-U-R-N-E or something like that.
Yeah.
Or B-O-R-N-E.
We're taking developmental linebacker.
Sandworm would have been so cool. It would have been like Beetlejuice.
So now we have there's a lot of interior offensive linemen, interior defensive linemen. There's an edge.
Mhm.
Jake Ferguson's still here, which he's not going to be here this low, so he's not in existence. He does not exist.
Yeah.
There's a corner, Travius Hodges Tomlinson.
If our offseason goes like this, I'm going to be very upset. I'm going to be like,
really? I don't hate it that much.
I couldn't say I hate it, but it would be very, very vanilla for me.
Aren't we
not the direction I.
Aren't we absolutely screwed at corner? We didn't take a corner, did we?
Yeah, we didn't. I don't think we have one. I think
our corner situation sucks.
Well, because we're rolling with 𝐓𝐞𝐭𝐬 and Carter and Hall, right? Let's take a corner. Give us best available corner.
Okay, best available corner. So our massive misses are corner, and we don't have a backup tackle right now either. So we kind of screwed the pooch with that one.
Oh. We're bad GMs, Joe.
It's hey, we're not going to fill every single hole.
Talk us through it because I can't read it on this screen.
Okay. So I can just do starters real quick for the team. That's easy. Starting offensive line, obviously it's the same as last year. Plus we got 𝐗-𝐼𝐚𝐽. We got 𝐗-𝐼𝐚𝐽, and then at tight end we now are lining up with what's his face? What the hell is his name now?
Schultz.
We need Schultz, Ruckert, and Tyler Croft is our three. That's freaking awesome. Our receivers are Elijah Moore, Corey Davis. What's his face? Shark, yeah, and that's a 4, yeah. Okay,
Dotson.
And Dotson, yeah. Dotson. Jesus, okay, that's awesome. And then past that, offense, we don't really have much. There's nothing, right? We hit all the offense, so
yeah. Did we go running back? We didn't go running back, right? I guess we retained Coleman.
Yeah, we missed on running back too, which is something that I think they would legitimately do. But in our mocks, there's like just nobody there.
Edward Ziff says, get safety or running back in waivers. Got the 4th slot this year. Yeah, not a bad thought process. The waiver wire is going to be friends for the Jets this year.
Yeah. Okay, next. I think the other thing, I'm trying to think what else we missed on. Okay, so the offensive line is solid. We got Tardif back as a backup offensive lineman too. We missed the backup tackle. The defensive line, we got rid of Rankins. We got rid of Foley, but we signed what's his name? DJ Jones, like a run stuffer, and then we got a Devontae Wyatt as like a 4th round interior defensive lineman too. Don't kill us. And then linebacker, we signed
the Atlanta guy, Boyce.
No, I think we missed on him.
Oh, that's right. He didn't even. Oh man, we totally whiffed on linebacker.
Oh no, we got Jaylen Brown.
Oh, okay.
Jaylen Brown, Mosley. Jaylen Brown, Mosley, and then when they play like base 4-3, they have Quincy come in. Not ideal. And then we have the 5th round pick. We have Hamza coming back. We have Sherwood. Okay. And then at safety, we signed a safety. We completely forgot about that. So we kind of screwed up there.
Who did we get at safety?
Xavier Woods. I think he's from Dallas, right?
We're bad GMs. Okay, so we could have gone with Chuma then.
Yeah. So we should
Muma.
Yeah, we should have got Muma. So assume Muma. But at safety, it's really or at linebacker. It would really be because we screwed up. We screwed up that one. It's Muma, Mosley, and Jaylen Brown, and then at safety it would be Xavier Woods and Jaquan Brisker, and then at corner we just really screwed up, and we have the same corners and minus a guy in the 5th or 6th round.
In our current corners, we didn't screw up, Joe.
We have our current corners, and I think LaDainian Tomlinson's kid. I don't know if that's his kid or not. I'm just assuming. I hope it is. I'm pretty sure it is.
So I'm gonna run with it. I don't care if it's true or not.
I'm sure it is.
Just like Laken Tomlinson is his kid too.
Past that, and then our defensive line is now. We have Carl Lawson, Carl Loftus, JFM, and Q. Like our defensive line set, linebacker is pretty set, safety is set. We screwed up on corner, we screwed up on running back, we screwed up getting a backup tackle, but obviously we forgot that whatever.
So here's Richard Delgado with another super chat. He says the only way I see the Jets guarantee a good season next year is by getting Jason Garrett. They'll go at least 8-9. Dick, Yeah.
Okay, so that's our off season. So
Yeah, you know what? Look, there's a lot of different ways you can figure this out. This is not one of the ways I really want to figure it out. I'll be honest. I don't mind 𝐗-𝐭𝐬. I don't mind Karlaftis. Like that's a solid first 2 picks. I like Doxson. I like who was our other second round pick? It was Doxson, and did we go with
we got
Brisker?
Brisker. We got a starting safety. We wouldn't have got 𝐗 though, and we got a different. We probably would have got like a line. Yeah, we would have got 𝐗. We would have got maybe like a higher end run. Like obviously it's a high pick for running back. We got a running back or a linebacker there most likely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, then we have the 4th round pick running back or the 5th round pick running back, Jack Sanborn too as a backup. So,
all right. So we'll say this is not. If this is the worst way our offseason can go, I'd be pretty happy.
That's like a B. This is like a B.
I'll give it a solid B-. It's not sexy because I want some big names, but Schultz is a win. If you get Schultz and then you get an edge rusher and you get a guy that plays guard tackle, I think that's a home run of an offseason.
And you're talking about surrounding Zack Wilson with talent. Now your tight ends are Croft, Ruckert, and Schultz, and now your receivers are Dotson, Davis, Moore, and DJ Shark. Like we definitely surrounded Zack with talent, that's for sure. We just missed on a backup tackle and a backup running back. So
yeah, not the worst case scenario. And then who knows? Maybe you have I think you have Edoga for 1 more year. Yeah, look, there's gonna be guys you could bring in, guys that the best part about the Senior Bowl, I think for me, is that you get undrafted free agents that know the coaching staff, that are already familiar with some of the schemes, that would feel more comfortable going to either the Lions or the Jets because they worked with them throughout this whole week of the Senior Bowl. So not even factoring in draft picks, the undrafted side of things for the Senior Bowl, I think, is exciting.
Yeah. And Douglas has been pretty good with that. Like obviously landing some good UDFAs, like Huff and 𝐗-𝐅𝐚𝐿, and this year we'll see what happens with Isaiah Dunn and what's his face, Yeboah, and what's the other one? 𝐉𝐞𝐭𝐬 Rashid, I think is another one. So, but our receivers, tight ends, and offensive line in this mock are absolutely like stacked.
Definitely excited with how – I shouldn't say excited, but I would say the tight ends, the offensive line, we have helped out Zack Wilson immensely, and receiver-wise, like we've added depth across the entire thing. Like, we're not going to be hurt by injuries next year with this particular type of offseason, I think.
And I would say going into the next year, we probably really want to splash at corner, corner, and then probably we're not going to splash at running back, but corner, running back, and backup tackle are the 3 biggest needs I would say after this offseason, which I could live with, being a
it could be starting tackle. It could be starting tackle too. Look, depending on what happens with Becton and what happens with Fant. I mean, one of them will be starting in 2023, if not both. Hopefully, Becton bounces back nicely. Fant has another good year, and you just retain both of them, and that's not just a non-issue.
I think Fant's going to be here for a couple of years. I think he's proven himself to be a decent to solid starting level tackle who has versatility. Now the only reason I could see him being a little bit turned off by the Jets and like a contract offer is if he just really hates being a right tackle, because like the problem is they signed him telling him he was going to be a left tackle. Then he played right tackle, struggled a little bit at right tackle. Like he was okay last year, but then he goes left tackle this year and puts up like a legitimately solid year. And now they move him back to right tackle again, this year. Maybe he's a little bit turned off by that and he doesn't want to resign. But other than that, if he's willing for a good contract, I would like to sign Fant back because Fant's a solid tackle. And that's all we can hope for. Like, look at our history of tackles, like Brandon 𝐗-𝐿 and all these scrubs we've had, bring back Fant.
If you think Fant can play another 4 years to get Wilson through his rookie contract,
yeah, he can.
That's a no-brainer. He's 30 years old, 34 years old. That's perfectly doable for a tackle. And he's got some highway miles on him. Like, I shouldn't even say it's not even highway. He really doesn't have many miles on him at all. Because he was the swing tackle / backup tight end for the Seahawks until he got here. So look, we got him for a little bit longer. But Joe, that's going to be the end of our stream here. That was pretty solid, fun off season. We're gonna have to do this again.
Yeah, I think once it's like really honed in, like we have everything a little bit more realistic. Like some of it's obviously a decent chunk's realistic, but we have to really obviously hone it in a little bit. we'll definitely do it again. And I know you have to wake up in like 4 hours because you have a 6 o'clock flight, so enjoy that.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, make sure you hit that like button. Your boy didn't miss his flight. His flight got canceled. It was supposed to fly out at 11 today. Then it was 12. Then it was 1. Then it was 2:30. Then it was 6:30. Now it's 6 a.m. tomorrow. I'm flying out of Florida. So I got to catch a flight early. It's been a lot of fun flying with you, Joe. Any last words for our guests tonight?
No, 𝐗-𝐅𝐵31 on Twitter. I'm starting to post a lot of like film stuff around the prospects and really learn about those guys. So make sure you check out the live streams, because like Kyle and I will go into the film a little bit and we'll really like talk about these guys, like really dissect them. And then other than that, Wednesday I'm going to be trying, which I should actually probably talk to you about this. I'll be trying my first time ever using StreamYard, and like I'm gonna try to have people call in. I don't know how it's going to work with people calling in, but if a couple of people call in and I enjoy it, then maybe I'll do that more often. So Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, I'm going to do a live stream. It just me talking to you guys in the chat, and hopefully some people call in or whatever. So,
Ooh, I like it. Guys, make sure you subscribe to Joe down below in the description. Follow him. Great content over on Jets X Factor, and he's a great Twitter follow as well. Joe, thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with us tonight. Guys, it's been a lot of fun. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.